What's happening, ladies and germs? This is the Packerman, and welcome to a special Tuesday edition of The Fuel. I've been working 10-hour days, so I've been pretty pooped last couple of days. But we're going to do the review for the 2020 Superstar Batteries 400 at Kansas, which took place last Thursday night. So there's some news stories, but we're going to hold off on those till next week. This week, no frills, no bullshit. Let's just go ahead and get into the review and get it done. Whoops. Because I dropped my microphone. Hold on. Which microphone am I using? The webcam. Okay, so that doesn't really matter. Alright, so let's just go ahead and run through this real quick. Stages broke down like this. Stages 1 and 2 were 80 laps. Stage 3, 107 laps. So, Kevin Harvick drew the pole for the race, but Logano got a great run around the outside that led lap number 1. Truex starts going towards the front early, up to 3rd already. Blaney starts challenging Logano for the lead. Harvick continues to backslide through the field because he had a car that was good on those super short runs, but not really on the long runs. Keselowski and Kyle Busch passed him for 4th and 5th. Truex challenges Blaney for 2nd and takes it on lap 24. Kyle Busch by Keselowski for 4th. Then we have our first caution on lap 26 for competition caution. Everyone comes in for service. Truex wins the race off pit road. Logano gets penalized for an uncontrolled tire. Pretty obvious it was uncontrolled. We all know how I feel about that rule, but I mean, it was pretty clear that it was an uncontrolled tire. So. Truex leads on the restart. Kyle Busch gets around on the inside and takes the lead on the restart. Hamlin moves up to 3rd and passes teammate Truex for 2nd. So we have a Joe Gibbs Racing 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Ryan Blaney starts reporting a vibration, wondering if it was like wheel weight or whatever the hell they said it was. Stenhouse had an apparent electrical fire inside the car, which in his day extended JTG Daugherty's last place streak to 4 straight races. And then Kyle Busch wins stage number 1, and it was a boring-ass stage. I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. People were overrating this race to death. I mean, in Gluck's poll, 70% said it was a good race, and even Eric Eastep gave it a 90% on his Groovy Gauge rating for this race. And I'm thinking to myself, are we even watching the same fucking race? I mean, this race, in comparison to what you guys are seeing, is fucking trash. Okay, stages 1 and 2 were boring as fuck, and then stage 3 was sloppy as fuck. It was really only the last run of race that I would consider good racing. I mean, I think a lot of people were overrating this race because of all the restarts. Woohoo! Because the restarts are always exciting. Well, no fucking shit. The problem is, when you have a shit ton of restarts, you know what causes a shit ton of restarts? A shit ton of caution flags. Now, we didn't see all that many in the first 2 stages, but it really picked up the pace in stage 3 in terms of caution flags. It was fucking ridiculous. And caution flags just causes these races to just drag and drag and drag. And that's what it felt like in the 3rd stage. So, I don't know what the fuck you people are watching, but this race was not that good. I'm sorry. Yeah, there were a lot of pure lead changes in this race, but it was, you know, on the other side of that coin, a lot of it was fucking boring. And stage 3 was the antithesis of what good driving is. I'll put it to you that way. Anyway, stage 2, Hamlin leads the start of stage 2 after everyone came in for service. Truex and Kez battle for 2nd for several laps before Truex finally gets it done. And we have our first pure lead change on lap 97. Truex had a great run off turn 4 and took the lead from Hamlin. Right before the caution came out on lap 101, our 2nd of the day, when Bubba Wallace loses it off turn 4 by himself, which happened a couple times. Everyone comes in for service. Kez takes just 2 tires to take the lead, so he leads on the restart. Truex leads the lap after the restart, but Kez starts fighting back on the inside and retakes the lead. 2nd pure lead change on lap 107. But then Truex comes back and retakes the lead off of turn 2 on lap 115 for a 3rd pure lead change of the day. Hamlin gets by Keselowski for second, and then we have a battle for third between Blaney, Kyle Busch, and Kez. Bowyer nearly loses it off turn 4, but hangs on. And then caution number 3 on lap 143 when Chris Buescher spins off turn 2. Everyone comes in for service. Blaney, Johnson, Reddick, and John Hunter Nemechek take just 2 tires. So Blaney leads on the restart. Some tight racing in the mid-pack. Harvick, Truex, and Johnson go 3 wide for 5th. Almirola gets by Hamlin for 3rd. Kyle Busch and Hamlin start fighting for the 4th position. Kez starts challenging Blaney for the lead with 4 laps to go in the stage and actually takes it on lap 159, which is the last lap of the stage. That's our 4th pure lead change of the day, and Brad Keselowski wins stage number 2. Everyone comes in for service. Hamlin and Elliott take just 2 tires. So now we get to stage 3. This stage was a fucking slop fest. Let's get started. 107 laps. Hamlin leads the start of stage 3. Had a big bottleneck on the restart. Some 3 and 4 wide racing. Kez gets by Kyle Busch for 3rd. And then we have our 4th caution on lap 171 when Matt Kenseth gets turned by the 37 of Ryan Preece after light contact. Bubba Wallace runs into the 42 with nowhere to go. That pretty much ended both of their days. Hamlin leads on the restart, and then immediately afterwards we have our 5th caution when we have a big stack up off turn 2 as Joey Logano looked like he lost the left front tire or a suspension broke on that car or something. But whatever it was, he went straight into the wall off of turn 2. Jimmy Johnson, Matt DiBenedetto sustained damage, as well as Austin Dillon. And it looked like Kevin Harvick got a little bit of it, as well as William Byron and Clint Bowyer. Hamlin leads on the restart once again, but then we get another big caution on lap 183, and this one actually had a really scary shunt. We have another wreck off turn 2. This one, it was pretty freaking scary to say the least, because it involved Ryan Preece and excuse me. But basically, Ryan Preece and Christopher Bell, I think, like made contact or some shit, which caused Preece's car to basically veer to the left and went towards the inside wall at a high rate of speed. And when I saw how fast he was going towards that inside wall and at the angle he was going, I literally cringed because I was like, oh shit. And he hit hard, and it nearly flipped the fucking car over. But as it turned out, he got out of the car and he was upset about being wrecked. But let's be honest here, without the safety innovations that the tracks and cars have today, who knows what would have happened in that case. I mean, that would have been a serious injury in all likelihood, or even worse, if you know what I mean. But Christopher Bell got turned into the inside wall by Ryan Newman. Both cars came back down the track and collected Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece. And yeah, that hit that Preece took, and it actually caused a red flag to clean the mess up. And at this point, I was like, yeah, this race is officially trash. Hamlin leads on the restart. Had some shuffling in the mid-pack. Truex passes Hamlin for the lead for a 5th pure lead change on lap 193. Then we get our 7th caution on lap 195 when Ryan Newman loses his left rear tire and spins in turns 1 and 2, obviously from the damage that he had from the previous wreck. Everybody but William Byron comes in for service. Byron was actually running really good at this point. Hamlin, or actually it was during this run, I should say. Hamlin takes just 2 tires and wins the race off pit road. Byron leads on the restart. Hamlin leads the lap after the restart, but Byron powers back by on the outside for our 6th pure lead change on lap 201. Kez moves up to 2nd by Hamlin, and then he gets by William Byron for the lead on lap 205. That's our 7th pure lead change. Kyle Busch gets by Blaney for 4th, then by Hamlin for 3rd, but is 3 seconds behind Keselowski. Byron is actually staying with Kez for the race lead. Blaney starts falling through the field after hitting the wall a little bit, and then William Byron actually manages to get back by Keselowski when Kez gets really loose in turn 4, which allows Byron to retake the lead with a great run. So that was our 8th pure lead change in lap 221. Blaney cuts down a tire, a right rear tire after contact with the wall. Kyle Busch also with a right front tire failure at almost the exact same time after making contact with the wall himself. And then we have our 8th caution on lap 235 when Corey LaJoie has a flat right rear tire himself. So all the lead lap cars come in for service. Byron and Bowman take just 2 tires. So Byron leads on the restart. Truex goes to the middle as Bowman leads the lap after the restart. Harvick moves up to 2nd on the restart. And then we have our 9th caution on lap 242 when John Hunter Nemechek gets loose off turn 2 and spins out. Bowman leads on the restart. Then Harvick and Hamlin get up to 1st and 2nd on the restart. So lovely. Instead of seeing someone like William Byron maybe getting his first win, or Alex Bowman getting back on track after, you know, some not good runs so far this summer, instead we're back to the fucking status quo with Harvick and Hamlin. It's fun while it lasted. But Hamlin actually starts running Harvick down for the lead, which is a bit of a surprise. And then Hamlin easily just blows by Harvick on the outside because, you know, Harvick, of course, had a short-run car. It was starting to fade on him at the end of the race. So Hamlin takes the lead for good on lap 255 for our 9th pure lead change of the day. Keselowski gets by Harvick for 2nd, then Truex gets by Harvick for 3rd. Kes actually starts closing in on Hamlin, with Truex not far behind, but Hamlin is able to hold them both at bay and wins the Super Smart Batteries 400 at Kansas for his 5th win of the season. Yeah, this was status quo, and this race was pretty crap, to say the least. Let's go to the statistics and results here real quick, because I gotta get the lead change count here. Alright, so a new thing that I'm going to be doing starting with this episode of The Fuel, I'm retiring the Dumbass of the Week segment, and in its place I'm going to replace it with something that I'm going to have after every race from this point forward, called Star of the Race and Reject of the Race. So for this week's Star of the Race, let me take a look at the results here real quick, because I don't really think anything really stood out during this race, to be honest, because a lot of it was just so fucking boring that it was hard to stay awake for most of it. So let's see here. Not really. So I guess the only person I can give it to is Denny Hamlin. He technically led the most laps in the race with 57. I think he did. He led 57 laps. He scored 56 points out of 60 possible, so he can be inconsistent at times, but when he's on, he's tough to beat. So I can't really think of anybody else that could be the star of the race. My reject of the race, stage 3. My God, was that stage a fucking travesty. Like, my God, caution after caution after caution after caution. We had 9 fucking cautions in a 400-mile race. That's ridiculous. And I expect better from the best stock car drivers in the world. Give me a break. Yeah, stage 3, it was fucking trash. Just caution after caution made that stage just drag on forever. So stage 3 is my reject of the race. Lead change count. We had 21 overall lead changes in this race, with 9 of those being pure. So we had 9 pure lead changes in a race that a majority of was just not really watchable. Wrap your head around that shit. But that's, with all that out of the way now, let's take a look at the race results. Denny Hamlin, of course, with the win. Brad Keselowski in 2nd, Truex 3rd, Kevin Harvick in 4th. Then we have Eric Jones with the top 5 run, then Eric Almirola, Cole Custer, Alex Bowman, Kurt Busch, and William Byron. So we had 3 Stewart-Haas cars in the top 5, or in the top 10, excuse me. Then we have a couple of Hendrick cars, and we have a couple of Joker's Racing cars up there in the top 10. So, pretty balanced all around, I would say. But you know, when you have a status quo winner, yeah. But point standings after 19 races, which means there are 7 to go until the playoff begins. And well, Harvick is just, I mean, he's led 700 total laps this year. I mean, he's hardly put a foot wrong this year. 0 DNFs, 16 top 10s in 19 races. I mean, that 4 team can do no wrong, it seems like. Brad Keselowski has, yeah, that many points. So he's 97 points behind Harvick. So Harvick's looking good to wrap up the regular season title for the final race of the year. Ryan Blaney in 3rd. Hamlin moves up to 4th with his 5th win of the year. Then you have Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr. And then you have our first non-winner of the season, Aric Almirola, at 8th in points. Kyle Busch moves up to 9th, and his brother Kurt is 10th. Alex Bowman is 11th. And then you have Clint Bowyer, Matt Benedetto, William Byron, Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick moves into the 15th spot. So, well, actually, since Austin Dillon's now outside the top 16, that means William Byron has the final spot in the playoff at the moment. Because with Austin Dillon in 17th and Cole Custer 19th, and that means you have up to 14th that can get in on points because Dillon and Cole Custer both have a win. So Jimmie Johnson is in trouble making the playoffs this year. I mean, it looked like he was a surefire lock to get in, but he has had a long string of bad luck, and it's pretty much sabotaged his season. And of course, having to miss the Brickyard 400 because of COVID didn't really help matters. As for my final rating for this race was overrated to shit by a lot of people. It was not as good as you all thought it was. I mean, if you look between the lines, there were way too many caution flags. Stages 1 and 2 were boring as fuck. And it wasn't until really the final run of race where we actually got some good racing. So overall, my final rating for this race, 3.5 out of 10. It was not that good. But that's going to do it for today's edition, special Tuesday edition of The Fuel. I apologize that this is a day late, but I've been worked to the bone the past couple days. But that being said, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, this is the Packer Man signing out. See you later.
You better like and subscribe or face the consequences. You have been warned.